There's an invisible string around your heart. No one else can see it, yet every time their name appears, it tightens, and you can't quite breathe. You tell yourself you've moved on, but you're still living inside fragments of memory, where warmth and pain mix into something almost addictive. You still check your phone, even though you know they won't text. What you miss isn't really them. It's the version of yourself that came alive when they saw you. What you crave is that sense of being seen, of feeling real in someone's eyes. And that's what makes letting go so impossible. Because when you walk away, you're not just losing a person, you're losing who you once were with them. But if you pause for a moment, you'll realize something quietly devastating. That string was never in their hands. It was tied by the part of you that still fears being left behind, the part that never learned to stand without needing someone's gaze to confirm your worth. Jung once said, "We do not possess what we do not face." Maybe detachment isn't about forgetting. It's about understanding what the string is made of. Because only when you trace it back to its source can you finally feel what true freedom means. The moment your heart stops pulling on someone who's no longer holding the other end. You keep telling yourself it's over, but your body doesn't believe you. Some nights, you feel that ache in your chest as if a part of you still waits for footsteps that will never return. You scroll through old photos, not to remember them, but to remember you. The you who laughed easily, who felt wanted, who had someone to text before falling asleep. You think it's love, but what you're really craving is the feeling of safety that person once gave you. It's the same reason you replay their words in your mind like a song that hurts, but you can't stop listening to. The truth is, emotional attachment is not just a habit, it's a chemical addiction. Every message, every kiss, every argument flooded your brain with dopamine and cortisol until their absence became withdrawal. That's why even when you know they weren't right for you, you still feel pulled back. You're not chasing the person anymore. You're chasing the high, the illusion of connection that numbed your loneliness. And yet, how could you not? You gave them a part of yourself that you'd never shown anyone. They became a mirror for the version of you that wanted to be loved right. But now that the mirror is gone, all you see is the emptiness they left behind. It's not a weakness to miss them. It's the body's way of grieving a self it once felt safe inside. Still, you can't stay trapped in that loop forever, because if you keep trying to relive that feeling, you'll keep losing the chance to feel anything real again. You deserve more than a memory that hurts to touch. You deserve peace. If this feels like it was written for you, don't leave just yet. Subscribe, and let's keep untangling the invisible threads together. Because in the next breath, we'll uncover why the pain isn't proof of love. It's proof of something much deeper that's still waiting to be healed inside you. Maybe what you called love was never love in its purest form. Maybe it was a reflection, a projection of something hidden inside you, something that longed to be seen. Jung believed that the people who move us most deeply are not random. They are mirrors, carrying the parts of us we've forgotten or abandoned. When you fell for them, you didn't just fall for who they were. You fell for how they made you feel about yourself. Complete, wanted, significant. That feeling was intoxicating because for a moment, it made the emptiness quiet. You thought they were the cure, but they were the signal. They revealed the wound, not the healing. And when they left, it wasn't them you lost. It was access to the part of you that felt whole through their gaze. That's why your heart still aches. It's not asking for them to return, it's asking for you to come back. The pain is a messenger, whispering that the self you outsourced to someone else has been waiting to be reclaimed. When you understand projection, everything changes. You stop asking, why did they leave? And start asking, What part of me went with them? That's where real detachment begins. Not in cutting them off, but in calling yourself home. It's strange, isn't it? How can someone disappear from your life yet still live inside your mind like a ghost that knows the code to every locked door? But the haunting only stops when you realize you were the one keeping those doors open. You can't erase what you projected, but you can integrate it. You can reclaim the strength, tenderness, and worth that you once saw in them. That's what Jung meant when he said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." The person you can't let go of was a teacher in disguise. They didn't complete you. They pointed you toward the missing pieces. So before you try to forget them, try to remember who you were before they entered the story, because that's the person you've been trying to find in every reflection since. And if you stay for what comes next, you'll start to see how the unconscious uses love, not to comfort you, but to wake you up. At the root of every painful attachment lies a child, one who once reached out for safety and didn't find it. That child still lives in your nervous system, whispering that love means holding on, even when it hurts. Jung called this the repetition of the wound, the unconscious pattern that keeps us bound to people who mirror our earliest fears. Maybe that's why you stayed too long. Maybe that's why you kept forgiving what broke you, because deep inside, the part of you that never got enough affection still believes that if you hold on tightly enough, someone will finally stay. That's the cruel beauty of the unconscious. It doesn't seek happiness. It seeks familiarity. You return to the pain you recognize because it feels safer than the emptiness of not knowing who you are without it. And that's how emotional attachment turns into identity. You stop asking, "Who am I without them?" and start believing, "I don't exist without them." But listen, this is the illusion your mind built to protect you from the terror of abandonment. It's not love. It's survival. It's the body replaying an old story, hoping for a different ending. And until you see that, you'll keep calling the same pain by a different name. Every text you wait for, every memory you revisit, is the child inside you tugging at a sleeve that's no longer there. The only way out isn't to silence the child, but to turn toward it, to say, "I see you. You don't have to beg anymore." Because the moment you do, the grip begins to loosen. The person you were addicted to stops being the center of your story. They become a chapter you finally read with the light on. So if it feels like you're losing control, don't run from this part. Keep listening, because what comes next may shift how you see every bond you've ever clung to. What if detachment isn't the end of love at all, but the moment you stop mistaking attachment for love? What if true connection begins only when you no longer need to be rescued from your own loneliness? The truth is coming, and it might hurt. But this time, the pain won't destroy you. It will set you free. Need to be rescued from your own loneliness? The truth is coming, and it might hurt. But this time the pain won't destroy you. It will set you free. Imagine for a moment that every bond you've ever formed leaves behind a thread. Some are loose, some are frayed. But one, this one, wraps tightly around your heart. You can't see it, but you can feel it pull when you think of them. It's the invisible string that connects you to what once felt like home. In the beginning, it was soft, almost weightless. Their presence made it glow, humming like a quiet current between two souls. You believed it was love because it made you feel alive. But slowly, the thread began to tighten. Every silence tugged harder. Every unanswered message twisted it a little more. Until one day, you realized the string that once connected you was now holding you captive. You've tried cutting it, blocking them, deleting photos, pretending not to care, but somehow the pull remains. That's because the string isn't between you and them. It's between you and the memory of who you were when they loved you. Each time you reach for them, you're not reaching outward. You're trying to touch that version of yourself again. Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." This string is that unconscious force, woven from every unmet need, every childhood echo, every unspoken fear of being alone. And here's the paradox. You can't break it by force. The harder you pull, the tighter it becomes. Detachment begins not with cutting, but with loosening. Breath by breath, awareness by awareness. When you stop fighting the pull and start tracing it back, you'll see it leads inward, not outward. The person you've been missing was never on the other end. It was always you, waiting to be found beneath all that longing. So tonight, when the ache returns, don't reach for your phone. Place a hand on your chest. Feel the quiet tension beneath your ribs. That's the string. It's not your punishment, it's your invitation. Because the moment you stop pulling on it, the moment you stop asking it to lead you back to them, it begins to dissolve, not into nothingness, but into peace. A peace that was always yours, hidden in the silence after goodbye. There comes a point when you stop asking why they left and start wondering why their absence still owns so much of you. You notice how your thoughts orbit them like a moon circling a planet that no longer exists. Every small reminder, a song, a scent, a phrase, pulls you back into the gravity of what was. But if you look closely, it isn't them you're staring at in that memory. It's your own reflection trapped behind their image. They were never the source of your worth, only the mirror that revealed it. When they looked at you, you finally saw yourself through kinder eyes. You mistook that reflection for love, but it was really self-recognition. That's why detachment feels like dying. It's the collapse of the mirror that once confirmed your existence. The truth is, you're not craving them. You're craving that reflection. And the only way to find it again is to stop searching in someone else's eyes. Look in your own. The same light you thought they gave you has always been there, waiting beneath layers of fear and longing. You may not see it clearly yet, but it flickers in the moments when you choose peace over panic, stillness over reaching. Healing begins there. It's not a grand epiphany. It's the quiet decision to stop proving your worth through someone else's absence. Ask yourself, if I stopped chasing what's left, what would come back to life within me? What would I see if I finally turned the mirror around? Because the reflection hasn't disappeared. It's simply waiting for you to face it directly. And when you do, you'll realize that what you thought was love was actually a rehearsal for remembering yourself. The ache fades not when they return, but when you do. At some point, the story changes. The pain that once felt unbearable begins to sound different, like an echo that's finally losing its power. You stop calling it heartbreak and start calling it information. The ache becomes a teacher, whispering truths you couldn't hear before. You realize you never needed closure from them. You needed honesty with yourself. Because it was never just about losing a person. It was about losing the illusion that someone else could carry what was always yours to hold. That realization hurts cleanly, like air touching a wound for the first time. It stings, but it also breathes. You begin to understand what Jung meant when he said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." Detachment is not about letting go of love. It's about letting go of illusion. You start to see that love and attachment are not the same. Love is fluid, expansive, generous. Attachment is tight, anxious, and controlling. Love says, "I want you to be free." Attachment says, "Don't leave me." And for the first time, you can feel the difference. That's the awakening, when you realize peace isn't found in holding on, but in allowing space for both of you to exist separately, without resentment. It's the moment you stop begging the string to loosen and instead unclench your own hand. Freedom doesn't arrive with silence or distance. It begins with compassion for yourself, for the parts of you that clung so hard because they were terrified of disappearing. You can forgive them now. You can forgive yourself for mistaking survival for love. And here's the part most people never reach. Detachment is not indifference. It's maturity. It's standing in the same place where you once begged to be seen and realizing you don't need an audience anymore. The heart still remembers, but it no longer kneels. So if the silence feels heavy, don't fear it. It's not emptiness, it's space. The kind of space where new meaning can grow. Because when you stop chasing what's gone, the energy you were losing to the past becomes the fuel for your return to life. And that return, quiet, steady, unapologetic, is where true love finally begins. Healing begins in small, deliberate acts. The kind that seem too simple to matter but slowly rewire the way you breathe. Tonight, when the string inside your chest starts to tighten, pause before you reach for your phone. Instead, reach for yourself. Write a single sentence in a journal. What am I still trying to feel through them? Let the answer come without judgment. Then, close your eyes and picture that invisible string loosening, not snapping, just softening, until your heartbeat feels like its own rhythm again. Each breath you take without thinking of them is proof that you're returning to yourself. Some days, you'll slip back. That's not failure. It's gravity reminding you to stand taller. Replace the pull with presence. Clean your space. Walk outside. Say thank you, even for the ache. Gratitude doesn't erase the pain. It transforms it into meaning. Because every time you choose stillness instead of reaching, honesty instead of nostalgia, you remind your heart that freedom isn't dramatic. It's quiet. It's earned moment by moment by refusing to chase what no longer pulls you forward. You'll know you're healing when remembering no longer feels like bleeding. When their name crosses your mind and your body stays still. That's when you understand what detachment really is. It's not a wall, it's a doorway. You don't close your heart, you open it differently. You start to see that every person you've ever loved was never meant to complete you, but to reveal a missing language within you. They were translators of your own longing, and when they left, they took nothing that wasn't already yours. Jung believed that relationships are mirrors of individuation, the process of becoming whole. We attract what will awaken what's asleep in us, even if it hurts. The pain is not punishment. It's initiation. It's how the unconscious calls you home. So when the ache returns, don't call it failure. It's memory testing your strength. Whisper to yourself, I am allowed to outgrow the people who once taught me love. Because healing isn't forgetting. It's remembering who you were before the world taught you to need someone else to feel safe. You'll see that love, at its highest form, isn't about holding or having. It's about wishing peace, even for those who broke your heart, because in doing so, you free both of you from the past. True detachment isn't coldness, it's clarity. It's saying, I can love you and still let you go. And that's the most powerful kind of love, the one that no longer clings, no longer demands, no longer fears. Because love that's free of fear becomes wisdom, and wisdom turns pain into compassion. If these words found you at the right time, let them stay. If this message touched your heart, comment, I choose peace. Thank you for walking this path with me. The world needs more hearts that can love without chains, and yours is slowly remembering how. When the noise fades and the world finally goes quiet, you'll notice something you haven't felt in a long time. Space. The kind of space that doesn't echo with their absence anymore, but hums softly with your own presence. There's no grand finale in healing, no perfect goodbye. One day, you just wake up and realize the invisible string is no longer pulling. It's dissolved into light, almost like mist after rain. You touch your chest and there's no tightness, only breath. You look at the places that once hurt and feel gratitude instead of longing, because it wasn't them who saved you. It was every moment you chose not to run from the silence. That's where you found your voice again. Love didn't die here. It just changed shape. It became quieter, cleaner, and more honest. The kind that no longer asks to be seen, only to be lived. So if you find yourself standing in that silence tonight, don't rush to fill it. Let it speak. Maybe this is what freedom sounds like. Not forgetting, not indifference, but a heart unbound, finally steady in its own rhythm. Thank you for staying until the end, for feeling through what most people run from. The next chapter isn't about who you'll love next. It's about how deeply you'll learn to love the life that's left in you. When this video ends, take one slow breath. Feel the quiet that follows. Somewhere in that stillness, something within you has already begun again.